let's go in for a look on the caliper, see if we can find the issue quick and easy. Other than these things being disgusting, we just burned off some pads, so we're gonna have to look at that, and also probably glaze the rotor. We're gonna have to do something about that. I don't know, we didn't ride it too far with that problem, but anyway, we're gonna pop this off real quick with a 12 and remove the caliper, take a look at it. The other thing I noticed, so I had the T battery in there and it wouldn't keep a charge. After a couple days, it was down to like 12.46, something like that. Not enough to start the bike. So I got a Pirate. If you know, you know. I got a Pirate battery, and it's not a T, but I was able to jam it in that hole. It's only a 12, but so far after a day and starting it and riding it home, it's still right around 13. So that's enough to start the bike, I think. And I thought maybe I had a drain coming from the bike, but if this thing holds charge, I'm gonna blame the brand new T battery, and I'm not really sure why, but if this thing works, we're gonna keep it in there. I bought another one. It was for the Magnas, but we're just gonna keep it in there, and I bought another one for the Magnas, so we'll just leave this battery with the bike. If there's not a parasitic drain while it sits and this battery holds a charge, then we're good to go. So let's pop this sucker off. All right, impact popped it right off. We're dripping brake fluid, as I knew we would. And now we can go investigate this lovely caliper. So I cleaned this up real quick, just dusted it off. It was pretty dirty, which can be expected for sitting outside. Dumped out what brake fluid would come out. Still, you're always gonna have more brake fluid leaking out. It's inevitable. It's always gonna happen. There's just, it doesn't all dump out at one time. So we'll keep wiping that off as we go, because we don't want it eating into our paint. Okay. So anyway, just gonna pop this off real quick, see what our pistons look like. They certainly look dirty. We'll see, they're both out. So obviously that's our problem. Why it did it is either the pistons are seized and need cleaned up and wouldn't fall back in. They're definitely stuck out. So anyway, take the pads off, take off this 10 millimeter. See if I can do this. Yeah, I'll hold that. So once we get the 10 millimeter off, this slide comes up, we push the pistons through, and the pads come out. There it is, 10 millimeter bolt. Slide. I guess it's not called a slide. These are called slide pins. That's called like a retaining clip or something. And then these guys push out on both sides. No big deal there. Pull them through. And then the pads will fall right out. I need to grab a wrench, or need to grab a pliers to pull them through. Or you can push them through the other side with a small screwdriver. So both those pins are out, which means our pads are free. There you go. There's our roached pads. I'm sure they're fine to go back on. We'll clean them up, hit them with a little bit of sandpaper. Clean out that groove. Yeah, they're fine. They're just super dirty. All right, now we can get a good look at our pistons on the caliper. Can't even see them because they're so filthy. All of this is super dirty. So we got to clean up our slides. Just all greasy, all grimy and gross. I'm not sure why, but like I said, it's been sitting outside collecting dirt and crap. I mean, you're not going to be able to push these back in just by hand. I'm going to clean these up and see if they look crappy. At any rate, they were stuck. So I'll clean them up, see what we're dealing with. If this looks like this, the other side looks like this too. So we're gonna have to break them both out. And unfortunately, my ultrasonic cleaner quit working. It won't even start. So if anybody has had that issue, let me know in the comments. So I guess we'll just part wash these, clean them up by hand, maybe let them soak in Pine Sol as we have been, even though the ultrasonic cleaner's shot. Tell me if anybody has had that happen. Mine just won't turn on. There's no power, nothing at all. So I guess I'll have to make a video taking that apart, see if there's a wire loose or something. I mean, it doesn't even try. And then last night I broke my vacuum. The engine in my vacuum started, like, I turned it on, it was sucking, and then I heard it, like, start to slow down, and then it just shut off. And when I turned the power on my vacuum, the freaking thing, the lights light up, but the engine doesn't, the motor doesn't run. So, I'm just breaking everything these days. Sometimes you need a win. I fixed my lawnmower, and I thought that was a win. And I thought I was on a roll, but everything else is breaking and not working. So anyway, you see, they're not rusty, they're actually pretty clean. It's interesting that they didn't work. So a friend of mine I talked to, he said he had the same issue. The brake lever got really hard and then locked up the front brakes. So I'm wondering, well he said DOT4 brake fluid doesn't compress and the viscosity is different than DOT3. So he drained his DOT4, put in DOT3, and it worked. So if anybody has any comments on that, I didn't know DOT3 and DOT4. I know DOT4 is better, but he said the DOT4 just doesn't work for this system. And I've never had an issue with it, so I'm kind of curious about that. I'm not going to put DOT4 back in this, that's for sure. I'm not going to find out and have to drain it out. I'm not going to get stranded on the road on purpose. So anyway, like I said, I'll pull these out. It just looks like they were all grimed up and they didn't want to recede back in the holes. And that one's a little bit, I can see it moving. This one is pretty solid. That's not moving at all. So these are definitely dirty, definitely need cleaned. Definitely need to do the other side. So yeah, we're going to clean these up. So if anybody has any comments on the DOT4, DOT3 situation, like I said, I'm not going to put DOT4 in just to test it. I'm going to put DOT3 in. And then I think, let me go up here and look and see if it calls for DOT4 or 3. Ooh, this does call for DOT3. So we're going to use DOT3 as it says. And this side says the same thing for clutch. So hopefully I don't have DOT4 in the clutch. I just use them interchangeably, but we're going to use DOT3 this time, but we definitely need to clean up those calipers. For your reference, the right side caliper was not seized up and it came right off, no problems. Remove the bolts, remove the banjo, and it slid right off the rotor. So not the problem. The right side was not the problem. Definitely left side was a problem. But like I said, while we're at it, might as well fix them both. And I'm going to go ahead and order some new kits to rebuild them. Probably could reuse the inner seals on the pistons. But since we're here, might as well fix them right. All right, got the 25mm adapter set on the brake piston extractor tool. I go in here, slides right in. That's the biggest one that'll fit. And just gonna basically tighten it down and then try and twist it out. And if twisting it out doesn't work, we'll set up the slide hammer. All you gotta do is thread that into the end and then slide it out. So hopefully this isn't in there too hard. And we'll get both of these out and I'll show you what we're dealing with. All right, guys, this is the hardest piston I've ever had to get out. I've soaked them when they were hard to do. I've soaked them in, like, I don't know, other things to try and loosen them up. But I've got this thing, I've been hammering on it for a while. It is seriously not budging. I can't even tell if it's even moved. Like you can see, these are pretty much level. And I'm thinking the other one might be easier to do, but I want to get this one out. So I'll keep working on it. It's not even moving. Okay, so I gave up on this one. I can't get either of them to budge. I actually tried knocking them back in, and they're not budging at all. So I went to the other caliper, and I think I got this one to budge a little bit. But, you know, while I was thinking about it, I think I had this happen before. And what I ended up doing was filling the inside with like penetrating fluid or oil, WD-40. Filling the inside with that so it could free it up from the inside. So I don't even know how I was getting brakes on this bike at all, because these things are like not moving at all. And frankly, I don't even know. Like, they must have moved out enough to make brakes and then just got progressively tighter. So anyway, I will try to work on these. But the nice thing about having a parts bike is I have a full set over here, and they don't look nearly as good as far as like powder coating and stuff. But I'm curious to see if I can get the pistons out, clean everything up, and hopefully have a functioning caliper here. We're going to end up cleaning all four up anyway, and it'll just be nice to have a success on this bike now that we're stumbling on the brakes. So everything else should be good to go on that bike. I need to stop saying that. Find another phrase. So I blew these off. They're disgusting, and we're going to end up cleaning them up, and definitely getting rebuild kits for at least 2 of these calipers. And hopefully eventually, like I said, I think what I ended up doing was filling inside of the caliper with, I feel like it was like JB Weld, or JB Weld? No, not JB Weld. PB Blaster. Yeah, I think we filled it with PB Blaster. So let's, I think we're gonna end up doing that with some of these. So we'll go back here and probably break down the other ones. And I should put these in some sort of container so I keep everything together. Yeah, smart. Work smart, not hard. All right, so getting these broken down. These cylinders look kind of better. These pads came out like this. Like they were installed like that. So I'm a little concerned for the guy that had this bike before me. I guess it's good that it's out of his hands. So, whoops. Well, these are actually installed correctly. There's a good bit of meat on them left. Meat left on them. So, yeah. All right. So let's keep on going. What? 10 seconds in? And I can already twist this one. Can I show you? Watch this. It's moving. It's moving. I can get these out. So, success. Those, not so much. I don't know. I'm going to keep working on them, but whew, they're stuck. One is out. That was a nice 10-second job. And, I mean, this bike didn't sit outside. They might not look as good, but it didn't sit outside and rust fast. So hopefully these all pop out and we can clean them up good. I probably won't paint them just because, well, maybe I will. We'll see what they look like when they're cleaned up. Oh my gosh. I had to work so hard for this one. And what ended up working is I was twisting it with this. And finally, I twisted it enough that I saw some good piston. And then I started with the slide hammer, which, as you can see on this finger, I caught myself, and that feels terrible. But I was able to get this piston out. Look at the trash on that. That has bad, gross brake fluid. That's stuck in there. So even if I did, I don't think I did change the fluid on the front of this. But if I did, that stuff didn't come out. That just sat in there. You can see this one was way worse stuck than that one. And for some reason, that side had worse brake fluid. Because, hold on a second, set that there. Here's the other piston. It came out dry. Well, I guess I wiped it off when I took it off of the piston removal tool. But what a freaking grossness mess. Now, I'm not even sure if this is the left or the right. Was this the one that killed us? I still have this one to do. I'm not sure if this is the one that killed us or that's the one that killed us. I think this is the one that didn't kill us. This might be the one. I don't know. Wait, one of these has a mark in the bottom. Yeah, it wouldn't have been this one. I guess it would be this one. So, I'm still going to work to get these out. But that is disgusting. And that needs destroyed. Yeah, this might have been the hardest one. I don't know. I can't tell. But anyway, gross. And your brakes aren't going to work if they look like that. Well, now that we got the second one out, or the first one out, that one's not all that bad. So these are just, you can tell, these are not going to slide on their own. I'm having a heck of a time getting them out. The only way I was able to, oh my gosh, I'm actually shaking because I'm so fatigued on this. I don't know how I can keep my hand from shaking. So I'm using this longer bar and actually putting it on the piston removal tool. And I'm turning this as I go. I'm kind of pulling out on it and I'm rotating the piston out. And that is the only way that I have found to get these out. Tried the slide hammer on these, obviously before and now. And rotating it out is the only way to do it. These seals are just shot and they're not letting go. So they're not soft and pliable anymore. And this is the way it's working. So if you have the hand strength, you can probably turn this just by having it on here. And you can probably get this in the vise. I'm finding that just holding it and turning it as I am right here is working for me. But man, look at that. My hand won't stop shaking. This is a lot. After we did those two, and then that one, and then this one, my muscles are fatigued. Crazy. That's insane. It's getting worse. Okay. I'm going to get this one out and call it a day. All right. All the pistons are out. Got some gross stuff in there. We'll have to, ooh, yeah. Guys, this is how they fail. So, you want to make sure these are loose and moving. I'm sure these are seized. Yeah, that's pretty much seized up. I'm going to make sure this guy's floating. It doesn't feel like it's able to move at all, because these have to float on the mounts, and that's what helps to loosen them up. All that needs cleaned. That needs to slide smoothly. All these pistons need cleaned up on the outside. You can see they're junky, and all this stuff needs cleaned up. And here's all the pistons from the easier calipers. And here's all the pistons from the crazy calipers. And if you're using this tool, it is the 25 millimeter that worked for me. It just fits inside the pistons, and then you tighten it up and you can pull them out. Hopefully easier than I do. So on to clean all this stuff. If you are going to clean these in like an ultrasonic cleaner, and if you happen to use Pine Sol, make sure you take off these rubber pieces. They get so gross and disgusting, and you have to replace them if you run them through Pine Sol. They're probably shot anyway. I noticed some of these were ripped. Something around here was ripped. Oh, this one right here. Grease is popping out. Don't put too much grease. That's going to be too much pressure in there. You just want to grease the slide. If you fill that up, that's going to just burst out of there anyway. So here we go. Gonna have to clean them up, and hopefully out of these sets we can get something that works. So this is a long video, so I will pick up where I left off on another video. So catch you guys later. Get out and ride or fix your bike. And don't let your brake maintenance get to this point. That's disgusting.